Who or what is Saint Trina, and why are they one of the most important people in Elden Ring lore? How you guys and girls doing today? Simpson and I with Nate here, and in this video we are talking about Saint Trina's origin, story, and ending. Just a heads up, there will be in-game and DLC spoilers, so proceed with caution. We first start learning about Saint Trina in the base game, with little bits of information and items scattered all across the lands between. One of the earliest items about Saint Trina that we can get our hands on is Saint Trina's sword. This sword inflicts sleep upon enemies, and it says, Saint Trina is an enigmatic figure. Some say she is a comely young girl, others are sure he is a boy. The only certainty is that their appearance was as sudden as their disappearance. As we progress through the game, we start to notice more items that hint at Saint Trina and what power she has. Later in the consecrated snowfield, we can get Saint Trina's torch. Once again, the torch induces sleep upon the enemy, and the description reads, candle stand torch that burns with a light purple flame. The carvings depict Saint Trina, but in adult form, somewhat unnervingly. Why would an adult form be unnerving? Remember that, as we will come back to that later. We even discover that she had a loyal following in the lands between. The Saint Trina arrow says that it was used by the priest of Saint Trina to spread their teachings. The sweet oblivion of sleep can become quite the habit. Okay, so far we've got that Saint Trina was a warrior of some sort that had a devout following and had the power to imbue sleep. Her teaching centered on dulling the senses and employing sleep-inducing blessings to calm agitation and distress. She traveled all across the lands between, spreading her message and sleep influence to friend and foe alike. But where did she come from? Who birthed Saint Trina in the first place? But first, a word from our sponsor, Egon. Ladies and gentlemen, put on your seatbelts because we are about to go for a wild ride. Remember earlier when we talked about how Saint Trina was viewed as a boy or girl by many people? Another very small but relevant reference we get to this is in Malenia's remembrance. It states that Miquella and Malenia both suffered afflictions from birth. One was cursed with eternal childhood and the other harbored rot from within. So Miquella suffers from a childlike state, and Saint Trina is looked at as a very young boy or girl with no definite answer. Okay, do you see where I'm going with this? Stay with me now. It seems to me that Saint Trina's teachings align with those of Miquella, who was associated with medicines and the suppression of illnesses. Remember, Miquella abandoned Golden Order fundamentalism to find a cure for his sister's scarlet rot. Let's go a little bit deeper, shall we? The symbolic flowers representing them are nearly identical in both appearance and symbolism. Trina's lily, a pale purple water lily, symbolizes faith in Saint Trina's church. Miquella's lily, an unalloyed gold water lily, symbolizes faith in Miquella's helix-tree. According to their description, both flowers seem to be decaying, and fun fact, the Clean Rot Knights, the followers of Malenia, have a chance to drop Trina's lily as well. One last piece of evidence that ties these two together are found in the Fevor's cookbooks. It says that Fevor was a man who was utterly captivated by Saint Trina, and he continued to search for her in his slumber. From his first cookbook, you can learn the sleep pot, which reads, like a lullaby or a quagmire, its light purple haze irresistibly draws its victims down into a sleep, sweet dreams. Even though Fevor was only obsessed with Saint Trina, if you get Fevor's cookbook 3, you can create the witching branch. The witching branch reads, tree branch blessed with an incantation of unalloyed gold. The Empyrean Miquella is loved by many people. Indeed, he has learned very well how to compel such affection. Now, why would Fevor's cookbook mention Miquella when he was only obsessed with Saint Trina? Time to enter the shadow of the Erd Tree. As we progress through the game, we run into an NPC by the name of Teolier. Teolier is a person obsessed with Saint Trina and the sleep hypnosis that comes with associating with her. As we progress his questline, he will eventually give us something called Teolier's concoction, which says, Teolier thought of Saint Trina's sleep when he created this, but the ebony sleep he concocted had not the sweetness of nectar, nor the gentleness of rest embrace. Even further into the quest, and we finally get the dialogue and confirmation we've been waiting for. Here it is.
I'm feeling rather lost. Haunted by memories of St. Trina, her visage, her scent, the lure of velvety sleep. Would kindly Miquella chasten me for falling for St. Trina, while knowing that she was the discarded half?
That's right, everyone. Saint Trina is none other than Miquella's discarded half. Fun fact, this is actually Saint Trina falling after being thrown away in the trailer. Whoa. As we go throughout the DLC, we can see that Miquella is discarding parts of himself so that he can ascend to godhood. One of the biggest parts that he rid himself of was his love, which was Saint Trina all along. We can even get some more confirmation of this by Needle Knight Letta.
St. Trina's love for kind Miquella is boundless. She is, after all, his other half. Or perhaps her feelings go beyond even that, even if she was left behind. I doubt her heart would waver.
Eventually, we'll get to a point in the story that Teolier tells us where he believes St. Trina is located, so we head there and start to put the final pieces of the puzzle together. Right beside Miquella's cross, we meet a ghost that had some final words before passing on. He says, "Kindly Miquella, I've seen you've thrown away something that you should not have. Under any circumstances, how will you offer salvation to those who cannot be saved when you cannot even save your other self?" And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. As we make our way to the end of the area and hop down into this huge hole, we run into a boss that guards the person we're looking for. After beating the boss, we go into the back room, and lo and behold, we finally get to see her. Saint motherfucking Trina, chilling in a comatose-like state. Once we interact with her, it gives us the option to imbibe her nectar. Doing so will make us fall into a deep sleep that kills us, but if we do this 4 times, we end up getting some dialogue from her. Imbibing the nectar 2 more times after that will give us the 2 final pieces of dialogue she gives us. I will let all 3 play now.
Miquella, stop. Don't turn the poor thing into a god. On earth would be Miquella's prison. A caged divinity is beyond saving. You must kill Miquella. Grant him forgiveness.
We even got some unused dialogue from Bonfire VN. Shout out to him. I'll let that play now.
Thank you. Finally, he will be free.
The last thing we can do is come back to her one last time after defeating the final boss, and she will be dead, but left something for us to grab. It is St. Trina's blossom, and it reads, "St. Trina's life withered and fell, as fleeting as the seasons. At her last, she left a single water lily. Despite the velvety purple hue, the flower is in no way poisonous. It merely blooms in quietude." Will we ever have a lore video that doesn't end sadly? Jesus. With all this info now coming full circle, we know that St. Trina was split from Miquella, just like Radagon could split from Marika. She moved throughout the lands between as her own person until she was more than likely forcefully fused back together with Miquella, where she was then discarded in the Lands of Shadow. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of love abandoned, St. Trina. Like always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you all in the next one. Simpson918 out of here. Love you guys.